Welcome to the Senate Minute, a podcast dedicated to keeping the public informed about the Indiana General Assembly and engaged in the legislative process. Our guest this week is State Senator Luke Kenley, Chair of the Senate Committee on Appropriations. Let's have a candid conversation about being fiscally conservative. We hear that term quite often, and I think it would be helpful to simplify that theory and explain what it really means to be fiscally conservative.
You know, I think to the ordinary person, it probably would be two things. Number one, fiscal conservatism means that you don't do any more things in government than you need to do to help people. In other words, rather than just take people's tax money and do as much as you can and do lots of things, you just try to take lower amounts of money and do fewer things. Now, for us who are here that have to do the budgets, there's also a definition of being conservative, and that is never spend more money than you take in. Those two things, when you put them together, I think that tells you what a fiscal conservative would do.
And we often hear the term keeping taxes low. For the average Hoosier, single mother, college kids, middle-class family, why is it important for them that we keep taxes low?
Well, really, keeping taxes low has the benefit of meaning that regardless of who you are, or what your income is, or what level you're at, the lower your taxes are means that you get to keep that money, you get to spend it yourself, and you get to make the decision about how it's spent. So it's always an objective of a conservative to try to keep taxes low. And then that has the added benefit that if you keep taxes relatively low, then every unit of government, whatever is the taxing unit, whether it's the state or it's your city or it's your school corporation, if the taxes are fairly low, then they're being forced to be more economical in how they use your dollar because they don't have extra dollars to just throw around. It's really a big target to think that low taxes are a good thing, and that doesn't mean that you don't want to pay any taxes because there are things that we all want together, and we have to decide what those are. But if you approach it from a conservative standpoint, you allow actually the citizen to keep more of their own income and have more discretion to make their own decisions about where to spend money.
We are fortunate to have a safety net. We have been fiscally conservative. Other states haven't. What are the negatives that come out of that whenever you spend more than you bring in?
Well, that creates a huge level of tension. Generally, citizens are dissatisfied with the way the government's being run, and when you have to go back and ask them for more money all the time. This is sort of just like your own family budget. And if you have some savings or you're able to spend less than you're actually making in your job, that gives you so much more freedom to make choices and to make decisions. That's a critical thing that you always need to keep trying to do, is make sure that you have that ratio right. And then that way, as a state, you have choices to decide what to do. Maybe you want to give the money back, like we have our automatic taxpayer refund in Indiana. Or maybe some program comes along, and a good example being the last session, our road funding has kind of slipped, and we've had trouble keeping it up because the gas tax collects less. But with our surplus, we were able to say, let's just put more general fund dollars over into road maintenance and road building. And so that was a pretty strong consensus item among all citizens and all groups, including legislators. And because we had a good bottom line, we were able to make that decision.
Thanks for joining us today, Senator Kenley. To subscribe to this podcast, visit IndianaSenateRepublicans.com.